Hello, my beautiful soars. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This video is going to give you a brief overview of what is mental health. What are some of the facts and statistics around mental health in the Black community and why we are not seeking services. Um, Throughout this video, I want you to think about what does mental health mean to you and what does mental health look like for you. According to mentalhealth.gov, mental health encompasses our emotional, psychological, and social well-being, and it affects how we feel, how we think, and how we act. And our mental health helps us to, cope with stress and interact with others and make different decisions within our lives. And so the experiences of emotional wellness and stress can have a significant impact on our mental health. And we want to have a healthy state of being. And in order to do that, we need to really take into consideration our mental health just as much as we take into consideration our physical health. Mental health issues affect everyone. It does not matter your age, your race, your gender. All of us are affected by mental health in one way or another. It's important to address your mental health because it affects your relationships with others, your self esteem, your functioning. All those things can be impacted by your mental health. Particularly in the Black community, we are 20% more likely than the general population to experience some type of psychological distress. As young Black professionals in higher education, we are much less likely to seek mental health services. We would rather talk to a family member or a friend versus a professional. Um, and we just don't talk about mental health in our community. It's not a conversation that goes on. There are things like depression and anxiety that really do affect our community. Some of the common disorders within the Black community are ADHD, major depression, PTSD, because we are more likely to be victims of violence, and there's a large suicide rate among African American men. So there are mental health issues and disorders that are affecting our community, and it's important to be aware of that and be able to address that. So, why are we not seeking services? One of the reasons is there's a large stigma around mental health. We don't want this label that something's wrong with us or that we're crazy. And it's not just in the Black community, it's society at large. There's a large stigma around um, mental health issues. There's a lack of resources and access to mental health services. There's a lack of knowledge. We might not understand the different disorders that go into mental health or the different treatment options that are available to us. And so, if you don't have that understanding of what is available to you and what opportunities are there for you, then you can have misconceptions around mental health. We also aren't aware of what some of the warning signs are, or the best practices for addressing our mental health. We don't trust the systems around mental health. And when you think of things like racism and sexism and discrimination and different stereotypes that we go through in general, it's understandable to why we don't want to engage or trust these systems that could provide services to us. And then we believe that we can do it on our own. We can handle, whatever is being thrown at us, and we can take our mental health into our own hands. And sometimes we just need to take an extra step to ask for help and seek services in order to ensure that we are in a healthy state of mind. And so, although there might be lack of access or resources to us, many insurance companies do cover mental health services, but we do not prioritize our mental health as much as we do our physical health. And so that makes us less likely to address and manage our mental health versus our physical health. And so some of the ways that you can take care of your mental health are, engaging in self-care. We will have an entire video on what are some of the best self-care practices that you can do. It's important to do self check-ins and just be in tune with yourself and pay attention to any changes in your mood or your behavior, because if you are not well yourself and if you can't take care of yourself, then you aren't really able to help others. Your mental health affects your functioning. It affects how you see the outside world. It affects your relationships with other people, and it even affects how you view yourself and what's your self-esteem like. All of those things are affected by your mental health, which is why it is so crucial to really address your mental health and have an understanding of what is affecting your mental health. So how can you take care of yourself? So you can seek a professional, whether it's a counselor, a therapist, anyone. As a university student, I encourage you to seek out any resources on your campus. At my campus at the University of Oregon, we just hired 3 new Black counselors who focus on the Black student experience here at my campus, which is very helpful because we now have someone that we can identify with and relate with that wasn't there before. Another way that you can take care of your mental health is learning how to say no and learning how to ask for help. As hardworking women, I know that that is something that can be a challenge. Even for me, that's a challenge, but it can really take the load off of you and can be beneficial for your mental health. Take a break, give yourself a breather, be nice to yourself, and just do some self care in order to really take care of yourself. Um, it's also important to not suffer in silence. And so we have this tendency to really internalize our emotions and not talk about things and hold on to things and bottle them up. And then that's when things kind of start piling up on each other. And so it's important to not suffer in silence. And that's why doing check ins is so important because you will notice changes in yourself and realize that you're feeling stressed out or you're feeling overwhelmed. And then that's when asking for help comes into play. Know who your support system is. So if you have a core group around you that are there for you and support you, lean on them. That's what they're there for. They're there to, see you through the difficult times that you may have. And we all go through ups and downs throughout life. So it's important to identify those key people around you, whether it's a family member or a friend or a faculty member on your campus, anyone who is able to uplift you, use them as supports. And understand what your triggers are. So, anything that makes you upset or anything that causes you stress, have an understanding of what those things are so you can eliminate them or minimize them and really, really get some relief. Um, so that's just a brief overview. The next video that will go up will be addressing some of the mental health illnesses and disorders in order to gain a big understanding of what those are. And so I hope this was helpful just to give you some background information, and I will see you all on Sunday.